Hello everyone! Wow, off to a really good start already. Today, I'm going to be talking to you guys about the most important person in my life. She's been through some pretty tough times, and I think it's really admirable, and she deserves a little pat on the back. Have you guessed who I'm talking about yet? Wow, Michelle, that's really selfish. Yes it is. But here is where I invite you to take a step outside of our conventional beliefs in society and just indulge me for 1 second. Because I think there's a few of us out there who need to realize that after giving our hearts and souls to everybody, that we need to just stop and give ourselves a little love too. So bear with me for just 1 second while I nurse my unstable ego. When I was in grade 12, I got my first boyfriend. It took me long enough, but I finally got someone who liked me back. And we hit it off really well. Like, all of our friends said we were gonna get married, we were like the perfect couple, and it was just so wonderful. And I bet you if you asked me to make this video back then, I probably would have made it like a 20-minute long video on how much I loved this guy. But then after about a year of dating him, he drops a bombshell on me. It was so sudden that my brain had no time to prepare itself for the shock. So my mental state went a bit whack. I had placed so much value on this one human being in my life that when he broke up with me, I didn't know how to function anymore. And that ain't right. Look, you can devote yourself to someone as much as you want. You might actually be star-crossed lovers for all I know. But at the end of the day, you gotta devote yourself to you too. Does that make sense? So this is why I tell myself that I need to stop idolizing other people and I need to start idolizing myself. So, a while back, I became friends with a blatant psychopath. Maybe blatant is the wrong word because if it really was obvious, I probably wouldn't have stuck with him for about a year. And I know that if I can make a 20-minute long video on how much I loved this guy, then I can definitely make an hour-long video on how much I hate this guy. We had met online and tried the whole dating thing, and for reasons that are way too complex to get into right now, he decided it'd be best if we just stayed friends. This, of course, did not go over super well because I was still infatuated with this guy for some reason. And did he ever take advantage of that? Because he knew that if he wanted something done, I'd be the one to do it for him. Because I felt like my worth as a human being was dictated by how good of a friend I was to this person. And as long as I did favors for him, I would have his approval and therefore self-worth. Classic emotional manipulation. It got so bad actually to the point where we were walking with his friends in Fish Creek and I was kind of running behind. So he called me to catch up to them and of course I went running and his one friend actually said,
"Wow, you have her trained like a dog."
I'm very disappointed in myself. And of course, the higher you climb, the harder you're gonna fall. And I was getting up to Everest with this guy. I was his best friend, he needed me in his life. Exactly 1 day later, he dragged me out to a bar to meet this girl that he'd been seeing, and when she left him, he blamed me for it. So after raging at me over the phone for half an hour, he decided that I was no longer his best friend and he didn't need me in his life anymore. Until he came crawling back a week later. So, as you might imagine, living with this emotionally tumultuous human being was stressful? And boy, I was a nervous mess. And I continued to be a nervous mess until this guy finally slipped out of my life and I vowed to never let him back in again. What I take away from all of this is, I'm not a dog. I am not a subservient dimwit who will cater to the needs of any boy she gets a crush on. And do you know why? Because I am more important than that. So maybe some of you guys have found my tales of tribulations relatable, maybe some of you didn't find them relatable at all, and maybe some of you still think I'm a selfish cow. I encourage you to grab someone close and personal and give them a good hug because here's where we're gonna get nice and lovey-dovey, okay? But the point I really want to get across is that my mental blockades made me struggle a lot in certain situations. And as if that wasn't already bad enough already, what made it a lot worse is that I felt guilty about it. I felt like I had to apologize for every single cranial conundrum I had. And I realized recently that that's a terrible way to live. Why should I put myself down every time I have a mental hiccup? I need to love myself more. I am not a nuisance with a broken brain. I'm more important than that. And if you struggle with mental illness, you should honestly tell yourself that too. Because even though if you feel like you're not important to yourself, you most certainly are important to someone else. They will see you struggling and they will do their very best to help you. And no, you're not being a problem to them because you're important. And I'm important too. Right, Waffles?